What's up guys, and welcome back to another Wynand Crypto video. The cryptocurrency landscape just got flipped upside down, and if you're holding XRP, you absolutely need to hear this. Make sure to watch this video completely till the end, because this could change everything for XRP holders. We're talking about massive institutional moves, groundbreaking partnerships, and developments that could send shockwaves through the entire crypto space. You know what's absolutely wild? This same guy who called Bitcoin completely worthless just 4 years ago, Dimon from JP Morgan, has done a complete 180. This dude is now telling his clients they can buy Bitcoin, even though he's still not personally investing in it himself. Check this out.
How times have changed. 4 years after calling Bitcoin worthless, JP Morgan CEO Dimon says that clients can now buy the cryptocurrency, but it doesn't mean he's buying it himself.
I am not a fan of it. We are going to allow you to buy it, and we're not going to custody it. We're going to put it on statements for clients. So, I don't think you should smoke, but I defend your right to smoke. I defend your right to buy Bitcoin. Go at it.
Go at it, right? Dimon, who also called Bitcoin a pet rock, understands that personal feelings can't get in the way of business, especially not while business is booming. Bitcoin topping records today. You have it above 111,000 per Bitcoin. This is as major crypto regulation bill advances now into the Senate. Meanwhile, hundreds of industry leaders head to Washington for a dinner with President Trump tonight. There's a lot going on. I want to talk about the Genius Act with you, Dagan. We've been talking about the Trump meme coin that's been on fire, but maybe Jackie, I'll come to you first on Dimon and sort of the about face, but hey, I guess he's a smart businessman when it comes to that.
Absolutely. And I think he realizes he's alienating clients if he doesn't allow Bitcoin trading. I thought his smoking analogy was actually a pretty good one. You know, do it at your own risk. It could be dangerous. We certainly know that, and that it's a risky asset, but he knows that people that he works with are interested in having it included in their portfolio. So I think he's doing the right thing from a business standpoint. And we've, seen Dimon over the years come out, even despite his personal beliefs, defending his business and choices that it makes. For example, doing business in China. It's a huge market for them. They want to be able to do that, even though there are so many issues that we've been discussing with respect to trade and how we deal with our adversaries in other countries. So I think he's looking at it from a very just black and white, bottom line, dollars and cents standpoint. Good for him.
Liz, your thoughts?
So this is important. And this is one of the times in my career and my observation of Wall Street that I'm so mad at myself, because all the big banks had the same policy as JP Morgan. They would not allow clients to buy Bitcoin. So eventually, Morgan Stanley, I think, was the first to change policy. You knew the others were going to come along, exactly like you're saying, because they were losing clients to other firms. And now it's happened. But what does that mean? Trillions of dollars in assets under management, and registered reps all over the country, financial advisors can now put people in Bitcoin. We knew it was going to make it go up. We knew the Trump administration was basically friendly to crypto. This was such an inevitable move. That's why it's gone higher now. That's probably why it's going to continue to go higher, because Bank of America, for example, the biggest bank, has not yet made that decision, and they are bound to.
The timing of this shift couldn't be more perfect, especially with Trump Media Group planning to raise a massive $3 billion specifically for crypto investments. When you dig into the details, their strategy looks remarkably similar to Michael Saylor's approach, and we all know how that's been working out. Take a look at this incredible visual breakdown. The blush-colored section represents Bitcoin's massive $2.18 trillion market dominance. Below that, in blue, you've got Ethereum holding strong, but here's the part that's absolutely fascinating. See that section representing 231 billion stablecoins? This is where things get interesting. That stablecoin market is going to explode into the trillions. It's going to overtake Ethereum. It's going to dominate the altcoin space. The only question mark, whether it can challenge Bitcoin supremacy. And that gray section showing the altcoin market, mark my words, if you remember exactly how this chart looks today, then check it again in 12 months. You're going to be absolutely shocked by the transformation. Now, I've got some incredible clips from a recent Swift presentation that was uploaded just 2 hours ago. The original video was 39 minutes long, but I've condensed it down to the absolute highlights, about 5 minutes of pure gold. And it's all about Swift's live digital asset trial. Watch this.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the show that explores some of the most exciting innovations happening across financial services. I'm Nick Kerrigan, Head of Innovation at Swift, and today we're delving into the world of digital assets, and how we're turning our attention to real-world applications within our global community. Great. Well, and you mentioned Swift, and we promised in this session that we would talk about Swift's live trials. We've been working with the global community for a number of years to see how we can overcome fragmentation and ensure, as you said, Karen, global interoperability. And last year, we completed one of the largest global collaborations to date on this topic, with 38 financial institutions joining us to work on complex and commercially relevant use cases in a sandbox environment. And so, building on what we've learned through that exercise, we're now working with our community to conduct a series of live trials that involve real digital asset and real digital currencies transactions flowing between institutions orchestrated over the Swift network. So, Sharifa, maybe you can give us a bit of an insight onto why we're conducting these trials. What's the goal here?
Sure, Nick. I'm sure you've heard me say it before many times. Swift is a multi-asset platform and network. And for our 12,000 users, it's really their go-to window for everything from payments to securities, FX, and trade. And we want to keep it that way. We want users to be able to build on the investments they've been making over the years in strong identity, strong security, compliance standards like ISO that Karine will cover. So when we talk about the trials we're running, we are starting from that single window. From the channels that banks and corporates and asset managers and market infrastructures and others already use. We capture their digital transactions. We run them through a secured layer that checks integrity, identity, signature, authentication, etc. And we apply trusted workflow orchestration. And then we route those transactions to the right digital ledger for settlement. The ultimate goal of these trials is really to lay the foundation I just described for a Swift multi-ledger digital asset solution. And this Swift multi-ledger digital asset solution is really meant to simplify the connectivity to multiple blockchains for our users, and also to help standardize how digital assets are defined and processed across the ecosystem.
Great. So we're exploring several use cases as part of these live trials. Could you give us a sense of an overview of those use cases we're tackling?
Yeah, of course. So we are focusing on three main business use cases. And I would add a fourth one, which ties them all together through harmonization and to allow us to define the standards and frameworks needed for digital transactions and digital assets. So in terms of business use cases, the first one is we are looking at tackling post-trade settlement for tokenized assets. It is about enabling that seamless exchange across participants, platforms, and forms of money. And here we are building on the trial led by the ECB, the European Central Bank, where tokenized assets and digital cash were exchanged simultaneously between buying and selling parties. And the role of Swift was to provide the technical interoperability necessary to orchestrate those transactions between Banque de France, the L3S platform used for the transfer of tokenized assets, and Ethereum for the digital payments. So really, this live trial is to take this experiment and work towards a scalable solution for a true digital DVP settlement. So that's the first one. The second business case we are exploring is how to reduce the FX settlement risk. Especially for those currency pairs that are not eligible to payment versus payment protection. So these transactions are often settling out of sync, which creates counterparty risk, principal risk, as we call it. And with digital assets, digital money, on the rise, we can expect this risk to grow, right? So really our FX users have banks, brokers, they turn to us and they ask us to leverage our orchestration capabilities to link both payment legs of an FX trade and enable synchronized settlement. The good news is that we've already tested this in 3 settings. So we already tested this idea. We did it in our CBDC sandbox with the 38 banks that you mentioned, Nick, and CLS was involved too to settle cross CBDC FX transactions. Another instance where we tested this idea is the ECB trials with Banque de France and HKMA, where we really executed this PVP settlements of CBDCs. And in BIS Meridian 2, recently with the Bank of England, England, where it was also about this orchestration capability. So we are now working with 6 major banks to co-design a solution for synchronized fiat and digital FX settlements. And the third business use case is about automating payments on chain. So automating payments for on-chain transactions. So we don't really have a universally accepted digital currency yet. I think that's a fair statement. So most digital asset transactions still settle in fiat. So we want to streamline that process using the SWIFT network. I mentioned the Project Guardian earlier, which is a great example, and we are building on that in our live trial. So together, these 3 business use cases really support this broader goal I mentioned earlier of making digital assets transactions seamless, secure, and standardized across the board.
This is absolutely incredible. 38 major financial institutions are actively participating in this trial. They're not playing around with fake money or transactions. They're using real digital assets and actual cryptocurrencies. Their mission has 3 main objectives. First, they're tracking post-trade settlement using tokenized assets. And yes, you heard that right. They're utilizing Ethereum for this process. Second, they're focused on reducing foreign exchange risk by synchronizing both sides of settlement transactions. Third, they're working on automating payment systems completely. According to this expert panel, there's currently no universal digital currency available. In their professional opinion, the landscape is becoming increasingly complex, particularly as stablecoins continue their explosive growth. But here is their brilliant approach. They're designing their systems to service multiple digital assets across many different categories. Since digital technology entered the picture, it's been solving problems that seemed impossible before. These problems are being solved through smart contracts, and they specifically highlight several key benefits: enhanced liquidity, complete transparency, instant settlement capabilities, and 24/7 availability. These were issues they tried to solve for decades in traditional finance, but couldn't crack until now, with digital assets making it possible. And you guys, I have a special trick for you, which nobody seems to be using, and I cannot wrap my head around why, because if you sign up through my link down in the description onto the BTCC exchange, you get a 10% deposit bonus, and now stay with me here. Now here comes the important part. If you have any trading capital on any other exchange and you move it to your newly created BTCC account, you get, on top of your capital you moved, another 10% extra trading capital. As an example, so if you move or deposit 100k to your account, you get 10k for free. I'm not kidding. I really don't understand why nobody's doing this. To me, it really seems like people sometimes are too lazy or just don't like free money. I mean, like, I cannot make that account for you. You will need to do that yourself, alright? So let's jump back into the video. No matter what anyone says about Solana out there, and trust me, there's a lot of noise, you absolutely want to keep your eyes on this blockchain. SBI just made a massive announcement with their partner R3, highlighting this groundbreaking R3 Solana partnership. Here's why this matters. R3 Corda is currently being used by financial giants like the HSBC and Bank of America, who are holding more than $10 billion in tokenized real-world assets on the Corda network. This new partnership is going to provide access to public blockchain infrastructure without requiring any changes to existing institutional systems. And now let me show you this post from Senior Whale. This whale announced that he closed all his XRP Ledger AMM positions because he's trying to accumulate as much XRP as possible for minting opportunities on day one at Flare Networks. And honestly, he's not the only one thinking this way. His strategy is to keep a significant portion of his XRP in cold storage, at least initially. But here's the biggest revelation. He realized he doesn't own enough XRP for what's coming. Another major player who's going all in on XRP DeFi is Doppler. They just announced BitCo, which is a custody solution. What makes BitCo absolutely incredible is that digital assets up to $250 million are fully insured. That's institutional level security right there. XRP Army, this is absolutely massive. We're watching institutional adoption happen in real time. We're seeing traditional finance giants completely change their tune about cryptocurrency, and we're witnessing the infrastructure being built that's going to support the next wave of digital asset adoption. The fact that Swift is conducting live trials with real digital assets, that major banks are tokenizing billions of dollars worth of assets, and that XRP is positioned perfectly in the DeFi space. This is exactly what we've been waiting for. Don't sleep on these developments. If this video got you as excited as I am about what's coming for XRP and the entire crypto space, smash that like button right now. Make sure you're subscribed with notifications turned on because things are moving fast and you don't want to miss any of these game-changing updates. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think about Jamie Dimon's complete 180 on crypto? Are you positioning yourself for what's coming with Swift's digital asset trials? And how are you playing the XRP DeFi opportunities? Let's keep this conversation going, XRP Army. Until the next time, Wynand Crypto out.